Hey everyone, welcome back to Pretending with Dice. As always, I'm your host and game master, AJ. We hope you all had a great holiday season. This is our first episode of 2019, and we're really looking forward to making the podcast something really special for you guys this year. Today's episode is the conclusion of the Dungeons & Dragons story arc that we've been running for the past 5 episodes. Hope you've all been enjoying it as much as we enjoy playing and recording it. It's going to be some time before we hear from these characters again, but rest assured that Pronce, Enothe and Bork will be back later on in the year for the continuation of their story. In the meantime, I'm super excited for you all to hear our very first outing playing Call of Cthulhu 7th edition, starting next episode. We've had a lot of fun playing the game, and it's been a really interesting kind of change of flavour for us. I can now announce who our players are going to be for that. It's going to be Eden, who you'll all know as Pronce from our D&D sessions. Mark A, who listeners will remember played Klein in our Star Wars storyline Tempest Squadron back in the summer, and Amy, who provided a few voices in the Star Wars story and who I've been playing alongside as part of 2 separate series over on the Penance RPG podcast. So stay tuned for that, starting next time with episode 42. Also, and we're super excited for this, after episode 42 goes live, we're going to begin to release bonus episodes on the weeks in between our main game episodes. We've been on a bi-weekly schedule since we launched, and it's going to be really fun to go to a weekly one. The bonus episodes are going to be a mixture of interviews with other people in the RPG community, some one-shot games, and some world-building episodes where myself and another member of our cast are going to sit down and flesh out the sort of the homebrew world that we play our D&D games in. I'm really looking forward to sharing this with all of you, so hopefully you'll stick around for it. Alright then, so on to today's episode. If you haven't listened to the rest of this story arc, I'd really recommend going back to episode 36 and starting there. With this episode being the finale of the storyline, it's going to be a big help so you know what's going on. Either way though, let's briefly recap what got us to this point. Pursuing the cult of the Bleeding Eye, Enothe, Bork and Pronce travelled to the village of Wildmeadow, south of the local capital of Lorana. On the way, they met a young apprentice wizard named Elise, who had been instructed by her master to meet 3 people matching their description at that very spot. The 4 of them approached the village, which from a distance appeared to be emitting a strange glow, and quickly found that there was some kind of time distortion field enveloping the whole area. Time seemed to be moving slower the closer to the centre of the village they got. As they entered a small plot of land on the outskirts of the village, with a few houses nearby, the ground around them began to rumble, and a huge, frightening insectoid creature burst out in front of them. A battle ensued, with the group eventually having to defeat a second creature, which joined the first. That's pretty much where we left off, so without any further ado, let's begin today's episode. Enjoy. Okay, so the 4 of you kind of troop into one of the nearby buildings to sort of have a bit of a sit down and just get some shelter. Obviously, Pronce and Elise are a bit more battered up by the battle than you two are. So while they're sitting and sort of having a bit of a breather, are the 2 of you going to be exploring at all? Or
I think we should all stick together.
Yeah.
I think I'm keeping watch out the windows. Is there anything interesting in the house? Like, are there people in here?
There's no sign of anybody at all.
Okay.
The house inside looks very, very old. There's quite a lot of dust.
Okay.
Certain things on the walls seem to be rotting away, like fabrics and things.
Okay. Elise, is this village meant to be inhabited?
Yeah, I mean, there's meant to be a couple hundred people living here.
That's really strange. I wonder where they went.
Is it worth going upstairs and checking the bedroom?
Can have a look around if you like.
Yeah.
That's out of character. I'm not saying that. It's not her going. Yeah, go have a look
if you want.
Fucking
Not my
suit
house.
yourself.
Not my house.
I'm heavily injured. Just leave me be.
Yeah.
Just let me heal.
Okay, well, Pronce and Elise, you are healing up. You've got the window and everything,
Yeah,
so I'll,
you can go check
I'll do a
upstairs.
quick scout upstairs.
Yeah,
Literally,
that's fine.
I don't want to get in trouble. I just want to quickly have a look.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So two of you wander upstairs. She casts prestidigitation on herself again to clean off the gunk from that. So again,
Pronce stared at this in wonder.
you see the slice on her robe where she was hit with the pincers sort of knit itself back together as well. This sort of,
I feel like this is a learning moment for Pronce. Maybe Pronce could learn how to use prestidigitation correctly.
and it's her robe is again kind of pristine and quite new looking. No.
While these guys are going upstairs, Pronce is going to lean in and ask her to teach him how to do this.
You don't know you can cast spells and you can't do prestidigitation.
Well, I can do it, but not quite like and he just makes a purple puff come out of his hands. He's like, this is kind of the limit of what I do.
Okay, well, this is okay. It's a bit unorthodox, not knowing how to do this, but just concentrate on the dirt, and where you would make the smoke, just remove the dirt.
He holds his hand over a part of the robe that's particularly dirty and goes, bang! Is the dirt gone?
The dirt moves.
Oh my fucking god! Bang! Is the get out? Did he kill himself by accident?
Hi, my name's Pronce. I'm here to show you prestidigitation.
Bang! The dirt is gone.
The dirt moves. It's your first try. It just moves further along the robe. It leaves a bit of a cleaner spot, but she kind of sort of we'll keep practicing.
Well, I certainly will. Bang, 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 bang. And he's doing this all over his robe.
Eventually it ends up clean, but there's a lot of kind of like, whoop, it's like you're dusting yourself rather than just removing the dirt to begin
I was
with.
kind of liking the idea that I might end up with one spot of the robe that is just ridiculously filthy, and all of the dirt has been moved to that bit.
Yeah, there's like right kind of right on the crotch, it's really dirty. Because that's the one area that you're a little bit hesitant to go bang at. So the rest of it moving around just kind of collects a bit, and at least sort of averts her eyes a little bit, kind of turns and just looks towards the window.
There we go, much better.
As
Thank you very much.
you stand there basically crotch chopping.
Wonderful.
So downstairs you guys can hear bang, 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 bang as you make your way up.
You're staying down there.
I'm downstairs.
Oh, you're down there. Okay, so you're
watching this as well.
I was gonna say, are you watching or are you just looking out
I think
the
I'm
window?
just looking out the window, just like.
Yeah, so behind you can hear this all going on, and make of that what you will.
And if it is unsurprised.
Bork then, so you make your way upstairs.
Yep.
Again, just like the downstairs, this area is very kind of dusty. The curtains on the window are all sort of rotting away, and there's a lot of kind of mess and just general kind of debris all around. And as you step into the bedroom, you can see on the bed what looks to be the remains of two skeletons.
Okay. I'll walk in cautiously, just a few steps into the room.
Okay.
And then a bit of perception checking for the overall
Are you
room.
just
and the
are
bed.
you investigating the skeletons themselves, or are you?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah.
What are you looking for in particular?
Signs of a kind of, obviously there's something's going on here, so to say signs of like how long they've been there is a bit of a tricky one, but maybe things like pictures on the side
do
to
they seem
suggest,
old and
the
okay.
time that they were around was, if this is somehow trapped in some
Okay,
time thingy, I don't know.
Make an investigation check.
Crap balls. Why do I do these things on my own? 6.
6. Just you can't really tell. They look old.
No.
That's all you can say. There's no sign of any like remaining flesh or anything.
No, just dried out skeletons.
Yeah.
Okay.
No sign of any clothes on them either. or sheets on the bed at all.
So they're literally just two bodies laying on top of the bed.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Well, I can't roll again, so I'll just head back downstairs.
Okay.
Knowledge and let them know.
So yeah, you head back downstairs and see Pronce there just sort of attacking his robe in different ways and
Crotch chopping.
yeah.
Yeah. Enothe.
Yes, Bork.
I kind of point to Pronce initially, like as a suggestive, like what's going on.
I just
and then
shrug.
I just like forget it. Arms to the sky. So
A dab of desperation.
So I went upstairs. From what I could see, there was not a lot, but there were two bodies up on the bed. They look like they've been there a while. They are just skeletons. Weirdly, there are no clothes on the bodies, and they are just like laid out as if there was no sign of struggle. They're literally laying there on the bed. And I would predict that that's probably the same in every place in this house, in every house in this little village, is my guess.
That would explain why there's no people.
Yeah, they're all dead.
So, time is just different, so they aged, basically. I wonder how long this has been going on for.
Who knows the time thingy here? I don't know the magic bit, but this might have been happening for a long time. This might have only happened last week.
Are you two ready to start moving back towards the centre?
Pronce kind of steps up, like, because he's been sat down banging his clothes. He gets up and looks at you and says, sort of does like a little dust down and goes, I've done banging, so let's go. You guys don't want your clothes banged, do you?
No, I'm good.
Okay, thank you.
Not even a sock.
But before we move on, Elise, I'd just like to thank you. I've never banged like this before, and it's going to be very useful.
Please don't. Please don't.
In that short time I was upstairs, you taught Pronce to bang.
Yes, just like this. Bang! And he does a big one on his crotch where all the dirt is. And what happens to the dirt?
It doesn't disappear. There's a big cloud of just. It's like somebody's opened a Hoover bag.
Slight dust spillage.
See? Banging!
Okay.
It's. Nobody calls it banging. In fact, he doesn't need to say it out loud when he.
Well, Barry over here will start calling it that, so don't worry.
So is Pronce the last
Anyway.
name? Hi, I'm Barry Pronce.
Maybe one day we'll find out.
Pronce Scott.
I'm wondering how many people are going to get the right.
Probably just us.
That's my style of comedy. One person. That one's for you, person that knows bad infomercials.
Like
Or you UK TV viewers.
one chuckle's good enough.
I'm done banging. Let's move on.
Okay. Nice banging. Elise, are you ready?
I'm not happy about this banging joke.
It's done now. It's done.
It's done.
It's done.
It keeps,
Sorry.
Yeah, it's fine.
Are you okay, Elise?
I'll be fine. It's all right. Thank
Are
you.
you ready to move?
Yeah, let's keep going.
Keep moving to the centre and everything?
Yeah. Let's keep going then.
Okay, so you continue onwards towards the centre of town, and there's you don't see any sign of any more of these kind of insect creatures at all, but you make it to the bridge, which crosses right into the sort of central town square, and you get your first good look at the centre of town. Looking above, you can see this is definitely like there's collecting, the sky from here is fully light, and not like light sky, like bright white light, explaining the kind of glow. In the centre of the square, it's still quite some distance off, but you can see a group of figures sort of all frozen in place. And right in the centre, it's a sort of bright, it's sort of like a emerald kind of sparkly light. You can't make out what it's coming from at this distance. they all seem to be frozen completely in place.
Well, it looks like that's the epicenter of all of this. So, they look like they're worse off than we are. I don't know if time's moving at that point. If it is, it's not moving quickly. I'm more worried that we're going to get to them and then we'll be stuck as well.
It's a fair point, my friend.
Have we got any way of moving anything from there to us without actually going there?
I should have picked up some rope from my cousin.
He had some good deals for you.
That's some good deals. I could have made a lasso.
Time would still have affected the rope though, so...
That would have eventually gotten there, I guess.
Well, no, it depends whether or not time's frozen or...
Whether it's completely stilled.
I'm going to fire an arrow over the heads of the people.
Sure. It doesn't even get to them before it sticks in midair.
Okay. I assume this is a significantly different effect to what it was
It
previously.
seems similar, but it seems the closer you're getting, the more severe it is.
Okay. What do you think? Elise?
She's sort of staring into the group of figures. They're quite a distance away. They're about 200, 300 odd feet away.
How far away did the arrow stop?
About 100 feet from you, so about 200 feet from the center. It slowed down quite quickly and again from your point of view to like a complete crawl before coming to like almost a complete stop. Elise is staring into the center. She's sort of squinting and she says, I think that central figure is my master.
Well, I wasn't expecting that.
And the way that the people are arranged around the central figure, is this like... Do they look like they're worshipping, or do they look like they're sacrificing?
Make a perception check.
Or stealing from?
That's 17 total.
17. Neither.
Okay.
It almost looks like a frozen action scene, if you know what I mean.
Okay.
One of them has clearly been blown backwards and is in midair, kind of like as if he's just been pulled backwards by a stunt team. I don't know whether he's been something has blown him backwards. He's in midair. If he had motion, you could easily imagine him flying backwards. One of them is kind of dead on the floor, not quite yet on the floor, but has clearly been hit by something and is in the process of falling down dead. It's then that you realise as well that a lot of these figures are wearing the crimson robes of the cult that you've followed. One of them has his hat. The second closest one to the centre, if you were to believe at least that the closest one is her master, seems to have his hand raised as it's supposed that you've yourself performed quite a lot, as if you've just released a spell. And the central figure, which Elise thinks might be her master, seems to be almost kind of falling unconscious and falling backwards.
Okay. It seems that time stopped in the mid-battle, or some kind of altercation is taking place. If you look closely, there's a few gentlemen flying through the air. I've no notion of what... Did your master have any altercations with these robed cultists that we're after?
No, this is the first I've seen of these. My master had his secrets. He was on the High Council.
Let me see. Well, with no notion of the magic at work here, and personally no ability to dispel such things, not quite sure what to make of this.
Anyway, can I get a perception check from you?
12.
12 total?
Yes, unfortunately.
Okay, so you can, now that Pronce has pointed these things out, you've sort of been able to kind of figure what the kind of epicenter is. You guess it's based around very close to her master. And as you focus, you can see this sort of flickering green light. You can almost make out an object, sort of in midair, that seems to be the source of the flickering green light.
I think it's another relic.
Relic, you say?
I don't like the horny Pronce noise either.
It's good.
What can I tell you? You roused his spirits.
Bang.
Bang. Well, there's no time like the present to get another relic.
I'm not sure there's any time like anything. I think that's the issue.
There's no time anymore.
I think if we move to where the arrow stopped, we can at least then see how relative time is at that point, I guess.
If we all hold hands and step forward together.
I don't think it's wise because we can pull each other out hypothetically. I actually think it's better if one of us goes first.
But we're still holding hands, correct?
I'm not holding your hand.
Do you take the lead, Enothe? It's your arrow. Your idea.
Okay.
I'll stand behind you, ready to pull you back.
I'm going to stow my bow for the first time possibly ever and actually take out my sword.
Okay. First time ever.
Yeah. And yeah, I guess I'll start leading the way.
Okay, you're all going in, or are you just letting him walk away from?
We're going in like a straight line.
He can go in first.
Each can pull.
Then you were going to follow next.
I'll follow back, pull back if he really freezes up.
Pronce is going to look to Elise. Like, is she going to go next? Willingly?
She kind of looks at, she's looking at you the same way before finally kind of like, oh, fine, and then goes next.
And Pronce tags along behind, holding on to the back of Elise's robe.
She looks at you first and just like, again, just sort of rubs her temples in a little bit of frustration, as if sort of wondering how you came by any kind of magical ability.
I like images of Snow White and like Dopey standing behind, just like hanging onto the tail.
A little bit, yeah. So, over the course of, I take it you're being kind of
Cautious.
So yeah, over the course of a couple of minutes, even though this is really a kind of short distance, really, you make your way towards the arrow, never quite reaching it, because the closer you step, the further it moves away from you.
Okay.
Heading towards the end of its
So new
arc.
plan. I'm going to. So time appears to still be moving, despite the fact that it seemed to be becoming increasingly slow the closer we get.
Yes, I think we've proven my theory of relativity.
So,
should we pull back, or what's your plan?
I don't think there's any harm in continuing on. I don't think they're actually frozen. I think they're just frozen to us.
Okay.
I think we can actually use this to launch a surprise attack.
If we just simply, I don't know, lay fire down on the area, then as soon as the time kicks back in, well, they'll be toast.
We need to be careful that we don't hit Elise's master. But I think, given we know the people in the cultist robes aren't good, and I'm certainly not adverse to killing the rest of them.
Sure.
So what say you and I stand where we are and simply launch what we have?
I'm not adverse to that at all. And just pepper arrows in, basically. Have you picked up your javelin again?
I assume I probably would. Yeah.
I'm going to guess after that fight you picked up
I forgot about that.
javelin lightning.
I don't want to spend all of the arrows I have. Although I think I have
don't really
80
want
or
to.
something.
Yeah, I don't want to throw the javelin, assuming.
No. I'm just.
Yeah, you guys seem to
for
have more of a
reference.
kind of
I don't think we should use fire. I think I'll just lay down arrows at each of them.
suppress fire.
Well, where the group of them is all kind of like
They're a little
scattered
spread
in
out,
different
yeah.
areas. Are there any obvious ones on the outside edge as well? Obviously, we're trying to avoid hitting.
The closest
master.
one to you would be the one that was sort of flying backwards through the air, kind of action pose back, you know.
Well, if you focus on the ones in the centre of the group, near the master there, so that we're safe, I'll get the ones on the edges because, well, they're I don't know, easy fodder, shall we say?
Okay. At least before I do this, what do you think of this idea?
When do you think these things are going to hit them?
I don't know.
When do you think this time is going to restart?
I don't think it is going to restart. I think it's still moving.
Then why are you firing arrows?
Well, if it's all relative and we launch these things, then as we step forwards, then we will see them travel to their destinations, and should we judge the distance accordingly, then we will predict where our enemies will be as our attacks land. And we will simply walk forwards, time will move forwards with us, and our attacks will land as we step on.
Yes.
Time's been, and whenever we've been further away from the centre of this, time's been a lot.
No, I get that.
Faster.
I just think that well, your initial comment about when time starts up again. That's what
I didn't mean when time starts up again. I meant as we get closer, time will appear to start up again.
Yes.
I think this is a good opportunity because the people in the centre won't have even noticed us yet. The time difference, the clear speed difference is significantly higher than it was when Pronce warped in earlier.
Yes.
We're probably not even visible to them right now.
Exactly.
So quick.
So I just think we can use this to our advantage.
Well, if you want to go firing off arrows, that's up to you.
I want to know what your actual opinion of it is because
I don't know these cultists.
They're not good people.
Okay.
They stole from us.
They've got a relic.
They stole from Pronce.
And it looks like they're attacking your master, and I assume you like your master.
I do.
Right, so working on anyone who's against a friend is an enemy?
I don't necessarily disagree with that statement, Mr. Enothe, but I would not be so quick to kill when other options are available.
If you'd met these cultists, you would be. They certainly don't. They're certainly not adverse to it.
I am not averse to dispensing justice, but I don't leap to murder.
Well, neither do we, but we've been in our fair share of battles, right, guys?
You're not firing the arrows, so I don't mind.
She doesn't really say anything in response to this, but you can tell she doesn't really approve.
Never murder when justice is involved.
That's quite an extreme point of view, Mr. Pronce.
And it's the truth.
They kept 3 people tied up as prisoners. I'm really not against just...
Yes, they put a hole in a man's chest.
Well, that's as may be, but... Very well, do as you will, but I will not be party to it.
I'm fine with that.
I would only ask that if an opportunity presents itself, I would much prefer to see their leader captured and returned to Lorana for trial.
Which one do you think the leader is? The one
Probably the one casting that spell there.
Okay,
yes,
I won't fire at him then.
Very well.
Kneecap him.
I can't guarantee that will work. I'll aim at the mass of the body because if time isn't stopped, then this has all gotten very metaphysical.
Well, it seems that we're good to go, gentlemen. Shall we begin?
May as well. I'm gonna basically loose a couple of arrows at each of them.
Okay, so...
I'm not sure how you want to do this.
No, I think you can take your time lining your shots up, so I'm not really even going to make you roll for the attack.
Okay, yeah, so I'm just going to
We'll just say... Yeah, so you kind of take your time, line up a couple of arrows on each one and just fire them. So the arrows streak away from you and quickly slow down to a stop in each of them and are hanging in midair at various points in between you and the targets.
Now that you've done that, I'm going to kind of nod in the direction and launch 2 firebolts at each of the men on the outside edges of the fight.
Okay.
How many of them are there total, sorry?
There's 3 total.
3 total.
Plus the her master.
Plus the master. So
there's 3 cultists.
One of them being knocked back.
That you can see.
One fighting the master directly in the middle. The other 2 are relatively where?
There's one that's sort of... the one that's flying back is almost flying back in your direction. And there was one that's still fairly close to the middle who is sort of in the process of falling to the ground like he's been hit by something.
It'd be nice to easy to hit.
Right. I'll aim at those 2 then.
Okay.
And 2 firebolts apiece.
Okay. So again, these firebolts streak away from you, just missing Enothe's. You know, you take them at a slightly different angle to avoid the first thing that happens, you incinerating the arrows, and the firebolts also stop in midair.
Okay, Bork. I think it makes sense for you to go first.
Okay.
Keep your shield up. Shields up.
Shields up. I will cautiously start walking forward.
I don't think ranged weapons are going to be any use here.
No.
You said immediately after arguing that you needed to fire a bunch of arrows.
But I mean, once we get to the centre, ranged weapons. If time's getting slower and slower and slower, by the time we reach them, the arrows will hit. But firing any more arrows at that point will be largely pointless because we'll be at close range.
Yeah.
That's my logic.
Okay.
Well, everyone get behind me and I'll start walking.
Right.
Okay.
In tight formation then.
Why not?
Okay. So you sort of make a bit. Now that you've already fired your weapons, you kind of make a bit of a beeline towards the middle, sort of slowly, kind of moving forward. As you get closer and closer to the guy flying backwards, you can see his arms go from a standstill to like they're kind of cartwheeling in midair. And as he's sort of flying backwards towards you, he's struck by Enothe's arrows and Pronce's firebolt, and drops to the ground heavily. As you sort of approach, sort of drawing level with him, looking down at him, you can sort of see the sort of look of confusion on his eyes, as he's sort of wondering where these where his death came from. And you can also see he's quite a young man, and that you would put him not yet out of his teens, still bearing the kind of scarred face marking of the cult of the bleeding eye, but he's a young gentleman. And you watch as the light leaves his eyes and he dies from your attacks. Elise kneels next to him. She pays a bit more attention to him than you guys do, but as you continue forward, you very quickly come to the second of the three cultists, watching again as he is struck by your preemptive attacks on him. It's a little different to the first one, though. As you approach, he hits the ground, but it's quite clear he's dead from the way he lands, but maybe not from your attacks. And approaching his body on the ground, you can see an odd distortion on his facial features. The left-hand side of his face appears normal. Again, he's quite a young, sort of, you put him late teens, young man. But the right side of his face looks like it's been dead a long time, kind of dead of maybe old age, and the sort of the skin has begun to rot away. You can see bone underneath, and it looks like it's a corpse that's been dug up, essentially. Like it's the right hand side of his face is significantly older than the left.
This is the effect of the ripples, then, basically.
I can neither confirm nor deny the effect of the ripples.
You wanted your cool space-time stuff.
Certainly did. You could guess that maybe these guys have been hit by some ripples.
Okay.
And finally, the only ones ahead of you, although they are starting to move as you're getting closer, are the guy who had cast a spell, and Elise's master, who is actually in the process of falling backwards. You also now can get a good look at the item in midair. It appears to be a green, sort of fist-sized crystal. So not quite the same sort of design as your Gem of Malar. This is not got any kind of gold frame around it or anything. This is like a solid lump of emerald.
Okay.
And it's, as you look closer, you can see it's got kind of like a shimmering sort of force field around it, and inside it's spinning at very high speed. Not in like, it's not like the time has stopped there and it's, you're inferring that. You can see it spinning at high speed. Whereas this is the epicenter, that should be stopped. And can I get a perception check from, if anybody wants to be looking at it, I can get a perception check.
Enothe is the innately perceptive one.
24.
Sort of as it spins around, you can get a good look at this gem, and sparking away on one side of it is a familiar look of a witch bolt hit, just pumping power into this gem.
Okay. I'm going to let the others know that's what I saw, basically. Any thoughts, Elise?
I haven't seen this relic before, no. My master is very secretive when it comes to his work, I'm afraid. I'm his apprentice, and he won't even tell me most of what he does. In the Arcanium, though, he is known to be the keeper of some of the most dangerous magical artifacts and powers that we know of. This might be something to do with him.
Okay. Well, our only real goal is to capture the cultist at this point.
Pretty much, that's...
And try not to get aged into nothingness. Not sure how we can dodge that one, but I guess we'll see how it goes.
How far away from the cultist are we right now?
We're about 40 feet.
40 feet. Okay. Before I take the action, then I'll.
His motion is kind of like this. He's got his hand up, and this is how slow it is. He's sort of.
Okay. Well,
He's still recalling from releasing a spell, basically, and like to what would be like normally just like. This is how he's like.
Okay.
Like his fingers are, again. People listening, I did a very quick pull back as if I just fired a gun, and then how he's actually going as if I was like inching my fingers open like millimeters per second.
Okay. Watching this, then
tough to
say to the rest
describe
of the group, if I were to cast grease and knock this man on his bottom, as it were, then perhaps we could all run in, grab a limb, and well, the fight would be over.
If you cast grease, there's a chance it will fall over as well.
Well, of course, but
let's not do anything that risks us getting.
What do you suggest we do?
I'm just imagining just some Three Stooges stuff if you're like, get him! And you all jump in and
yeah, exactly.
And based on previous adventures, that seems fairly likely.
We'd all get stuck in a grease ripple.
Have I got enough time to just shoot, like, literally, well, not effectively try and kneecap him, basically?
I mean, yeah, you step back a few steps, you can stand there and fire off your whole quiver before you'd even realise that
I'm trying not to kill him, though. I just want to maim him.
I mean...
Oh. Well, okay. Grease perhaps was a hasty idea. I could try putting him to sleep. Seems like a reasonable choice.
Will that magic work in this kind of...
I think it's going to follow... Magic's clearly working at the same speed as everything else apart from that one gem.
But then this is down to like AJ's interpretation here. Like, if we've got somebody like you've got,
we just have to do something.
Over here it's one speed, over here it's another speed. The guy over here casts something, so in real time the spell is activated. Is it then, say it's the 30-second difference, is it 30 seconds from activation over here before effect is felt over here? Or is it...
No, it's instantaneous, it takes the...
Yeah.
It's the start-up speed, so like, say you got the 2 points and you're like, right, okay, sending the signal, but like, it's not like it's not like you're sending with sleep or something, it's not like you're sending the spell along a wire from point A to point B. When you start it, it starts at point B.
Right.
However, because time is running so much slower at point B, you could be stood in point A for 5 minutes waiting for it just to start going, kind of thing.
I think we've probably got enough.
Oh man, that makes things very complicated because then the question becomes: okay, person outside of the field is casting the spell, and the spell lasts a minute. Mm-hmm. Within the field, time is stretched out 5 times. So the person casting it outside, does the spell last 5 times less? Or does the person outside have to cast the spell for 5 times longer to maintain the effect?
It would last for if it's one you have to concentrate on. Here's what I'm saying. This is like, hey, here's a thought experiment.
This is like we're deep into D&D theory right here. Like.
If time is running 5 times slower at point B than point A, at point A casts it at point B and it lasts for a minute. It lasts for a minute at point B. Mm-hmm. At point A, you can watch it last for 5 minutes at point B.
Yeah.
Except everything in point B is also lasting 5 times as long.
Yeah.
So, but only from your point of view at point B, at point A.
So then
at point B, point B, it's still a minute.
The trouble is sleep works on hit points. This isn't obviously in character, and we can't see any visible damage on it. So I don't think sleep's going to work from a non. Because we've not had the best.
Say that in character. You've seen Pronce fail that spell a couple of times based on trying it on people at full health.
Yeah.
I'm not convinced that sleep will work. He doesn't appear to have been damaged. He appears to be the one doing the damaging.
He does look quite healthy, I suppose.
And unless he's been struck by whatever's hit the other,
you can't see from this angle at all. You just see the back of his head.
Yeah.
Well, I'm grasping at straws here, gentlemen. What
ideas
have we got?
It might be the best idea is actually just to rush him.
I mean, you guys know me. I got nothing other than the sword and shield that I carry.
Physically, you can take this guy, so
I can charge him.
Is it settled
for the
then?
best?
Are we going to make a charge for this?
Let's do it, because we got nothing else to go on.
Well, you say you've got nothing but your equipment, but you've got me, Bork. And with that, I would like to again cast Enlarge on Bork.
All right, mark off that other spell slot. Have you got enough? That's a second level spell, isn't it?
One level second, 1 second level spell left.
Okay, so Bork, again, you grow up to, you are now 6'2".
Make my creatures grow.
It's the big Bork.
After 500 years, I'm free. Now, conquer Earth. Is that the right number?
Yeah, it was something like that. It might be 5,000.
Yeah, it makes sense. Yeah, Bork gets big again. I might have to do a knockoff kind of orchestral. Yeah. We got Big Bork.
Yeah. Big Bork is Bork.
Later on, I'll find a spell that allows us to combine into one bigger person.
I honestly can't imagine anything worse.
So
both in and out of character.
So you're now all roughly the same height.
Excellent.
You.
Hey, baby.
Big Bork is Stallone.
Big Bork becomes Stallone.
Hey, how you doing?
It's not about how hard you can hit. It's about how hard you can get hit.
I keep moving forward. I'm gonna go.
Inspirational Bork is inspirational.
Time to run at this guy.
You know?
Here we go. Alright, I'll go. I don't need a rope. So I'm like, keep moving.
We got it all out.
I feel like we win just on the strength of that.
So what are you doing?
Charge.
I'm gonna charge him.
Okay. What, with your sword or just
With my sword.
Okay.
Should I charge it? Yeah, screw it. I'm charging with my sword.
Okay.
It's my own protection.
I'm running alongside. Pronce
Okay.
is coming with trying to keep pace. I want to keep it relative, like time-wise.
Yes, two people need to know what's going on.
All right. So the two of you, are all of you running? Are you running as well? Or are you just going to stand?
I think me and what's Elise doing?
She doesn't seem to want to run to the guy attacking. She's more now at this point concerned about her master, who's now you're getting closer. Like, because things are that you can see them sort of moving. Hopefully, he's falling. He's going to hit the ground.
Okay.
She seems more focused on him.
Okay. I think I'll stay closer to Elise.
Okay.
But obviously, we're still moving in the same direction.
Okay, so you're all basically running in.
Yeah.
It's just
Slightly staggered.
Yeah. Okay, so you all set off at a charging pace. The closer you get, the faster things start to move. Bork, you kind of bring your sword back to go for an attack, and as you do, you see that this guy, where he's recoiling from his spell, slowly speeding up. You can see he seems to have actually already been split in half. Vertically down him, from the middle outwards, seems to be spreading apart and just turning to sand and dust.
Oh, he did.
And the closer you get, you can actually see, at least you would, up to this point, has been kind of using detect magic to check out the fields and that. You're now getting close to the gem. Even you, Bork, can see these sort of, it almost looks like kind of, you know when like beams of light come down through the clouds? You also
God
see
rays.
yeah, you see some of, those coming off of the gem randomly, and you're coming in at this angle and you see one has just cutting off as it's gone vertically down the middle of this guy, as it's kind of pumped compressed time in a vertical stripe down this guy, and he's falling in two halves, and as you reach him, you hit the same time frame as him, and he just falls in two halves in front of you and just crumbles to dust. Enothe, you and Elise get to her master, and he's just sort of on the ground. He's sort of very dazed and not looking in a good way, but he's alive.
Okay. I'm basically okay. I realise this isn't the best time, but we really need to stop that thing.
Who?
Shut up, we need to stop the thing.
She turns around and she goes, "Fuck off, Enothe."
We do need to stop the thing. This isn't the time for who.
You can't talk to him like that.
This isn't the time for who. We need to stop it.
He looks around at everything that's going on. His eyes linger on Pronce for a moment, and a small smile plays on his lips before he focuses on the gem. A measure of resolve comes back to his features. He pulls Elise in closer, whispering in her ear. She nods and says, "Okay, I know what to do." She stands up and steps towards the gem. She begins moving her hands through a series of magical motions, and you can hear her sort of muttering words of power under her breath. After a couple of seconds, she releases the incantation that she's making, and before your very eyes, the witch bolt on the gem dissipates. The gem is still rotating in midair, but suddenly you can see these god rays aren't god rays, but you know what I mean. They're not flying off of it anymore.
God rays is a badass term. Go for it.
Yeah. These beams of force aren't flying off of it anymore. There's a sound like lightning and like lightning crashing all around you as the gem's force field also comes down and it drops to the ground, still glowing but no longer kept in place. All of the sunlight around you dissipates and you're standing in this town square. It's dark above you. There's a pause of about 20-30 seconds and snow is falling.
Well, we've been in here a while. What happened?
She says, I think the field is down now. The gem's gone inert. Well, at least not active. Looking around, she sees there's a sort of carrying case on the ground. She quickly puts the gem inside.
I'm going to help her master up.
He doesn't seem to be in a good way. He's alive, but he's...
I will very carefully help him up.
Okay, he can't stand. He can't...
It's fine, I'll let him lean on me.
Okay.
Lean on me. Time went all weird. That guy's got no face. Big Bork.
Just to be clear, he's not in a leaning on people way. He's in a
I hate your fart.
dying on the floor way.
Okay, don't lean on me.
Yeah.
Fine. Fuck you. No.
So he's lying down.
Okay, I go to help him up. That doesn't work.
He can't get up. He is down. She rushes back to his side and says, "I think it's done. We've I don't know how long you were in here, Master, but we've stopped it." He's looking around. He says, "Oh, good. It had to be here. I everywhere else would have killed more people. I saw. It had to be here. They would have caught up with me somewhere, and it couldn't be in a city." He's sort of looking kind of confused. He's not really talking a lot of sense, sort of thing. And again, he's looking around and looks at Pronce and sort of smiles and he sort of chuckles a bit and then coughs and falls unconscious.
Pronce has been busy looking at the two halves of the body and studying the edge where the time wave hit to look at, like, and much like he did with the this was some time ago, listeners, but when he found that body with the hole in the chest, he's checking the edge of it in very much the same way, like feeling the texture of it, and
it feels like it's rotted away at that point, like as if it's sort of like you're touching the edge of like a skeleton that's been, it's been underground for 1,000 years or something.
Okay. So bringing his fingers up to his face and having a little sniff, and then kind of getting up and joining the group, wanders over and, barely paying attention to this dying guy on the floor, says to everybody, "It feels a little bit like my pocket." And then sees the guy on the ground dying and says, this is taking a turn. Elise, is he okay?
I don't know. He's not well. We need to get him to a healer, or he might not make it. I don't even know what to do. She's looking around as well, and she can see, starting to notice the snow falling. She sort of frowns. We must have. It was the start of summer when we came in here. We can't. How long have we been?
Well, at least 6 months. It might have been a year and 6 months. It might have been longer. So that's fun.
Oh dear. We'd better get inside and warm ourselves up at the very least. I mean,
it's getting kind of chilly.
Is there anything anybody can do for this man? At least, do you know any healing cantrips or?
No, that wasn't my speciality.
Oh no, it's not mine either. Can we check this guy and see, quickly what the state of his wounds are? Like, what exactly is wrong with him?
He doesn't appear to, at least to a kind of initial cursory inspection, appear to have been sort of physically wounded. I mean, you don't see any kind of obvious sort of external wounds. Make a medicine check for me, actually. Anyone who wants to be looking over him.
18.
18. Okay, that's pretty good. It looks almost as if he's dying prematurely of some kind of like fatigue, like old age. You can't see any physical wounds on him, but he sort of seems to almost not be withering away, but like almost like he's like you're getting a sense of like dying on his deathbed, just kind of generally like, I am dying, it's my time, almost kind of thing. But yeah, you can't physically see any wounds on him at all.
Okay. I can't even see any wounds. He seems to just be dying of old age before us, the ravages of time.
His hair, yeah, in fact, actually, as you watch, his hair starts growing. It was black before now, and he had a small mustache. And as you watch, it all goes grey in front of you. His eyes flutter open one last time as he looks around at all of you crowded above him. Looks to Elise, gives her a sort of reassuring smile before settling on you, Pronce, and smile widens once again. And he says, "After all these years, I hoped we would meet again. I've missed you, Master." He lets out one final breath. His eyes roll back and his body goes limp.
I've never heard anyone say that before.
Okay, that's going to do it for this episode. We hope you've enjoyed this whole storyline. Rest assured that the tales of Pronce, Enothe and Bork are going to continue a little later on in the year. Our next episode, episode 42, the start of our first Call of Cthulhu storyline, will be available as usual in 2 weeks' time, on Thursday the 17th of January. In the meantime, you can get in contact with us on Twitter and Facebook, both of which we are at Pretend With Dice. You can also email us at pretendingwithdice@outlook.com. If you're an iTunes user, it'd be really great if you could leave us a rating and review. It all helps us to find new listeners, and we'd love to hear what you all think of the podcast. So for now, that's our show. I hope you all enjoyed it. We'll see you next time.